If you are a job seeker, a recruiter, a data analyst, or just an automation enthusiast, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to create a Python scraper that connects to Indeed.com and automatically extracts the job listings. Stay tuned. So this is the Indeed.com website, and as you can see, it shows all kinds of different jobs. And what we're going to do today is basically we will try to extract the most important information from each and every job listing, and we can save that into a CSV file, which can be used for further processing. So let's kick off. So to start with, we want to write a Python script in PyCharm, and I've already created a sample project, which is completely dummy right now, but let's move on and create some files and start coding. So let's create one module, which is going to be called scraper. And what we need is basically we need to install some libraries before we actually start coding. So for the purpose of this scraper, we're going to use Selenium. So Selenium is a library which lets you scrape any kind of website, and I will show you how to do that. So let's just install it. Let's just give it some time for it to finish installing, and then we can start writing the code. Okay, so the Selenium library has been installed successfully, and now we can move on to the actual coding part. So let's start with importing some of the Selenium modules which we're going to need. So we need the WebDriver, which actually connects to a given website. And what we want to do, what we need next is basically the different type of fields which we want to extract as part of the parsing. So I will explain how this works later on. And yeah, so now what we can do is we can instantiate the WebDriver, and we can say that this is going to be a Chrome browser. So this mimics the user behavior, and it basically the code behaves as if a user was actually opening the web browser and performing the actual button clicks and all the navigations. And once we have this web browser up and running, what we want to do is we want to connect to the website, which in this case is indeed.com. So if we go back to this Chrome browser, so what we need is this bit here. So it says uk.indeed.com/jobs. And now what we want to say is basically we can provide some arguments here to say, okay, we want to search for jobs in a particular location, or we want to search for jobs with a particular name. In our case, we're going to say that we want to search for jobs in London. So yeah, so basically question mark and then the name of the parameter. L stands for location and then equals London. So this is going to connect to the website and basically render the web page that we see here. So what we want to do next is actually we want to sleep for some time, or actually slow down the process. And this is because it might take a few seconds for the web page to load. And if we start parsing it before waiting, then we might get some errors and we might not get any data out of this. And yeah, so once we sleep for some time, or once we pause the process for some time, now it's actually the part where we need to start parsing the data. And we can start with the job titles and how it works. So basically, we're calling the driver, and then we're saying find elements, and we need to pass the ID of the element, and then basically we also need to specify the identifier. So how can we find the identifier? If we go back to the web page, so what we need to do is we need to right click on the first job that you see on the screen, and we can use this as an example on how to find all the different IDs or tags or classes. And yeah, so from here we can basically expand the body section. And as you can see here, we have all the different HTML elements that are used to build the section which displays the jobs or the job listings on the left hand side. And now what we need is basically we need to find the actual class or the actual tag that contains the job title. And yeah, so basically, if we start looking at the individual elements, then we can narrow down the actual element that contains the information that we're interested in. So in our case, we want to extract the job title. So as you can see, there is an element or a tag which has a class called job title. So what we want to do is we want to copy the class name, which is just the first part between the quotes. And we want to say that we want to extract this element and get the text. And when we do that, it's going to return precisely this information. So if we go back here, we say that we want to search by class name because we're passing the class. And basically the class name is job title. So this will give us all the job titles on the current page. And what we want to do next is we want to get the company names. So how can we do that? Again, we're following the same logic by just traversing each individual element just to see where the company name appears. And as you can see in here, we've got company, location, and if we expand this element, you can see we've got company name, and we also have the location. So each of them has a class name. So in this case, we need to copy this class for the company name, and then we need to copy that class for the location. So let's do this. So let's copy this. So this will be company names, and then the other one will be company locations. So let's just go back and copy the appropriate class for the location. And finally, what we want to do is we want to get the URL for each individual job listing so that we don't need to go back to the website all the time and just try to find the job that we actually got some data for. So let's just duplicate this and just say URLs. And now we need to go back to Chrome and find the actual URL that is going to give us the full job listing, like the complete job listing, all the information about an individual job. And I think that's the full URL, which is going to take us to the job description, and it's going to show us all the details. So how can we extract this information? So this is a little bit more complicated, but there's nothing to worry about. So you can see that the URL is basically inside the H2 job title tag. And what we want to do is basically we need to say we want to get all the elements within H2 which have class job title, and then we need to get the element A, and finally we want to get the actual URL which is behind this href tag or name. So let's go back to PyCharm and see how we can do this. So we need to change the identifier that we're going to use, because this time we're going to use a bunch of classifiers to narrow down the URL. And in this case, we're going to use XPath. And now I'm going to show you what exactly we need to type and how to find it. So to start with, we start with the main tag, which is H2. And again, that's the H2 tag. Then what we want to say is we want to get the element with class job title. So if we go back, so let's say this element needs to have a class that starts with job title. So okay, class, and then we need to say job title. And finally, what we want to do is we want to say that once we have found these elements, we want to get the A element, which is the nested element inside the H2 tag. So you can see H2, an element that starts with basically class name that starts with job title, and then give me all the A elements within this. And after that, we're going to get the href value, which is going to be the URL. So let's go back to PyCharm, and now we can actually run this and see if we get any data back. So let's just print some statements just to make sure that we can see the data. So let's say job data, and then we want to zip all of the information that we got back. So each of these lines represents a list of elements, and we want to zip them all together so that we can get all the information for each individual job listing. So we've got job titles, company names, company locations, and then the URLs. And let's just print some hyphens just so we can distinguish between the different jobs. And after this, we can say job name is equal to job data. Then we get the first element, because now we're going to have a list of lists, and then each nested list will contain the information for one job. And finally, we want to say give me the text. So we want to print the job name. Okay, so let's just use some string formatting. So we need to do the same for the company name, the company location, and the URL. So let's say company name, location, got company name, location, and finally we need to extract the URL from the element. And how do we do this? So in this case, we're going to get the A tag, which doesn't actually contain the URL. What we need to say is we need to say, give me the attribute. In this case, it's going to be the href attribute. So if we go back to Chrome, you can see we have the A elements, and what we need to say is basically we need to get the href attribute, which is going to be the URL that is going to take us to this job listing. And yeah, let's just modify this. That's the URL. And yeah, so now if we run this, hopefully we should see some data. Let's do this. So right click, run scraper, and let's see what happens. And yeah, so as you can see in the shell, we printed quite a bit of information about the different jobs. And you can see job name, company name, location, and URL. So just to test this, if we click on a given URL, then we should see the actual job name and all the other details with regards to this job. Let's do this just to make sure that it works correctly. And yeah, as you can see, when you click on this URL, then it takes us to the correct job listing. So what we can do now is actually we can save this information in a CSV file so that we can use it for further processing if we want to. So how do we do that? We want to create a file, and let's see, where do we want to write this file? So I think I'm going to add this file to this particular folder. You can use a folder of your choice. It doesn't need to be this one. You can use any folder that you like. And yeah, so let's add some column headings to start with. So let's see. So we've got job title, we've got company name, location, and URL. So this is going to create the first record or the first row in the CSV file, and this is going to be basically the column headings. So job title, company name, location, and URL. And what we want to do next is we need to basically save the details of each individual job into the CSV file. So let's do f.write, and we can use string formatting again just to save all the information. And don't forget the new line, otherwise all the information will be saved on a single line in the CSV file, which is not ideal. So we've got job name, company name, we've got location, and finally we've got the URL. So now, if we run this program or this script, then we should get a CSV file which contains all the information that we actually need. So let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so we run the program and now we need to make sure that the file was actually created. So as you can see, we created a file called jobdata.csv and it's actually here. So let's just open the file and make sure that it contains all the data. Okay, as you can see, the file contains all the information that we extracted from the first page of indeed.com. So if we just expand the columns, you can see all the job titles, company names, locations, and all the URLs for each individual job. So if you want, you can further enhance the script by passing additional parameters to the search query. So you can change the location to any other location that you want. You can provide the names of the jobs that you're interested in. Also, what you can do is you can use the information that we extracted already and plug it into ChatGPT, or you can plug it to WhatsApp, Telegram, or any other social media platform that you like. And you can basically analyze the jobs continuously and get all different insights that you're interested in. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get the code behind this demo, you can join my community on School. It's completely free, it doesn't cost anything to join, and you also get to learn at the same time with many other people who are as motivated as you are. Thank you very much for your time and see you in the next one.